Hi, everybody. I'm Anne Marie Hoftailing, and I'm the co founder of Story Imprinting, where we teach companies and individuals the art and science of storytelling. And today it's Hat Chats, where I sit and talk to you about whatever's on my mind wearing one of my fabulous hats. And today's hat is a fabulous velvet green Gucci number that I got at an extraordinary discount. I must say, I would not have purchased this retail, but I got this at the Gucci outlet with my fabulous business partner, Holly Amaya, on a retreat we did. And I'm just thrilled to be wearing it today to be able to talk to you. Today, I really want to talk about my own sort of career trajectory. I get a lot of questions about this, about how I got here. And, I want to back up a little bit and tell you that, I had a great job that I loved very much. I probably would still be doing that job, but the recession hit in 2009. I lost that great job training, working for a guy that I adored, this very small, tiny company. And it was a wonderful job. I was a single mom. I had my own mother living with me to take care of, and I made good money and I was able to travel. And when I wasn't traveling, I was home full time with my kids. I didn't have to log in, I didn't have to do meetings. So it was an ideal job. But when I lost it, I really didn't know what I was going to do next. But it became really clear to me that we were in a recession and there were no jobs to be had. And so I felt like I could really create what I wanted, that in this really kind of incredibly stressful landscape, there was an opportunity. So the first thing I want you to know is you are always in charge of how you perceive where you are, always. And in that moment, I decided, well, this is an opportunity for me to do what I most want to do. And what is that? And I really started out in sales and business development because that's what I was training and that's what I understood and knew about. And it really evolved and changed over time to coaching, storytelling, to getting more refined. And what I want to tell you is, listen, my first website, my first business card was garbage. It took time before these things were sophisticated and presentable. Now we have a beautiful website, we have gorgeous marketing. It was not always like that, I assure you. You can't wait for all the pieces to be there before you sort of pull the trigger. I really evolved my voice, my style, my content as I went along. You can't do that without actually just doing it. There is no sort of perfect package thing you're going to put out into the world and that's going to be it and you're never going to revise it again. If you care and you want to be good at something, you develop over time. It was really clear to me that I had to start from a place of what do I value? And what I valued was my freedom, impact, and then money. I wanted to be able to take care of myself and I wanted enough money to take care of my children and do what we wanted to do. But freedom was really at the top of the list. And what that really allows you to do is every time an opportunity comes your way, it allows you to determine, is this going to bring me closer or further away from my value system? So anytime somebody offered me a job, which might look more secure and had benefits and all these things, I was able to think, well, is this getting me closer or further away from what really matters to me? So if you are at a place in your career where you're not sure what you want, start with the 3 things that are most valuable to you. That will really help make decision making much, much easier. And then really what happened for me is I started doing training and I became more focused, more refined, more thoughtful about the kinds of content I was producing. I was making sure that it was in my voice. I mean, look at me right now, people. Look at me. I am wearing a velvet Gucci hat talking to you. Do you think most business coaches and trainers are doing that? Probably not. But here's the thing. If somebody's sitting here watching this thinking, who's this lunatic? And she's not somebody that I think is worth my time, they're probably not my client anyway. So be really careful of trying to just blend in and look like everybody else. The world needs you and your voice and your style in your way. The way I look and the way I dress does not change in any way, shape, or form my ability to do my job. It doesn't impact my intellect. It doesn't impact the way I deliver anything. I am still a professional at the highest level, but this is part of who I am, and I wanted to live in a fully integrated way. And so I just challenge you to make sure you do the same. Lean into who you are and your unique voice. That's what the world needs. If I can't tell the difference between what you're saying and somebody else and it all looks the same, what I can tell you is it's harder for people to hear you. You need to be able to speak in a way that really resonates with them. Coaching really came to me. I didn't sort of go chasing it. I was really good at negotiation. A lot of people were asking me to help them with sales negotiations, salary negotiations, and fast forward a decade later, I've done millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars in salary negotiations and sales negotiations. Storytelling was something that I really learned about because I was just integrating it naturally into my work, but I didn't really know why it worked. And then I became really curious and started doing a lot of research and reading, and I was just a natural autodidact. And so I learned a lot about storytelling in the brain and the structure and why it works with rather than against human nature. And I started really integrating it because that was work that mattered to me. Be really careful about people who tell you, just follow your passion. Well, let me tell you something, y'all. Hats are my passion, okay? I love me a vintage hat. I love clothes. I love, decor. It is not what I want to make my life's work. It isn't. It is not my purpose. My passion is not my purpose. Reading is my passion. It's not how I'm going to make my money. My purpose is really making sure that everyone who encounters me is better for having known me. Whether they're a coaching client, a training client, that any time they spend with me, they are in some way meaningfully transformed by that experience and have learned something from me. So think about your purpose in terms of what do you want to accomplish? What kind of imprint do you want to make in the world with people? The vehicle will come later in a lot of ways. And by the way, your job doesn't even have to be that. I mean, maybe you feel like, I don't know, like I'm pushing paper around. Your job title isn't necessarily attached to your purpose. How do you treat the people you manage? How do you treat your clients? Are you making people safer and braver and better in the world? Then you might be living your purpose. And maybe that isn't embedded in your job title, but don't get so attached to that. I am super lucky. I love and adore the work I do. I have plenty of it. And it also aligns with my purpose and my passion. I love storytelling. I love teaching it. I love coaching and training people. I love that people are making 40% more, that they're buying the first house, that they're doing all of these cool things. It's exciting and I love it. But I will also say this to you. I have always been somebody that if I'm working at a job that's an hourly job where I have no power, I felt like I always did have power. I had power to treat people well, to make them feel that they were better, smarter, more capable than they could see for themselves. So my title never had anything to do with that. So be really cautious of thinking that whatever that's the metric by which you define yourself. For me personally, that was never important. I wasn't somebody who cared much about sort of the kind of social climbing. That was not so interesting for me. And by the way, if that is what you want, great, then embrace it. But do what is aligned with your values. I think that that's really what will make you most happy and joyous and purpose-driven. I can tell you from having done this work for over a decade, the people who are most miserable and struggling the hardest are living outside of their value system. They're not struggling because they don't have a job they want. They're struggling because maybe they've lost their way a little bit and they don't feel any agency in their own path. So my invitation to you is to give yourself permission to actually choose yourself and your values. And don't worry what everybody else thinks. And by the way, my values are not your values. Maybe freedom isn't the most important thing to you. Maybe it's security. And if that's true, then you need to make career choices that reflect that, because that's what's going to give you the most comfort and satisfaction. That wouldn't work for me. And so you just need to find what suits you best and embrace that and Don't feel you have to apologize for that. And just remember that it's the impact you make wherever you are right now in whatever job you have had. I've had people have a great impact on me who ostensibly didn't have anything to do what you might imagine power looks like. That doesn't matter. Think about the kind of impact you want to have. And I would just say, I feel really lucky sitting here today, but it also took a lot of hustling. You know what I mean? I had to write a lot of content. I had to pitch a lot of content, get published. I didn't have any money to do any of that kind of stuff, so I really had to do all of that on my own. But all that positioning in the marketplace was a creative process that I found really interesting and really leaned into. You can't get away from it. You've got to find a way to embrace that. If that's something you hate and you don't want to do, then don't be an entrepreneur, because that's not going to go away. It's always going to be there. Business development, marketing, branding, all of those things are going to be really important. So I would just say that, wherever you are sitting right now, if you feel like this is not living my highest and best self, this is not what I want to be doing, don't listen to everybody saying, chase your passion, start by just thinking about, what do I value? What do I want to do on this planet? What matters to me? Your decision process will become a lot easier, and you will find that once those decisions are cleaner and clearer, that you're going to direct yourself in a way that feels more authentic to you. And you're going to feel less anxious, less depleted, more focused, and more energized. If you have any questions about anything, about my own personal career journey, about things you'd like me to talk about, please drop them in the comments below. Please, please, please be sure to give this a thumbs up and subscribe. We really need you to help us become real people on YouTube, because right now we're not. We're only like 171 subscribers. So any love you give us, we're so grateful for. Thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure.